Hi everyone. Before starting this video, I would like to inform you something. From past 2 days, there is this problem that is coming that though we stream video from our side, but on YouTube's end, either it is not reflected or some audio video gap comes in the video. Yesterday, I streamed video 2 times, but the same thing happened. You might have seen it also. Today also, I streamed the video twice, but both the times there was the video lag. Then third time, I streamed the video and a lot of you joined it also. But third time also the same thing was coming. But then I recorded the video so that even if this problem comes, I will have the recording which I will upload manually. But then I found that the same thing even happened in recording. But a good thing was that the recording got resolved after some time. So I am sharing the video is there, but starting a few minutes video actually got disrupted. We were also not able to recover it. So first 2-3 minutes is missing. I will remove it, and from overview I am putting this particular video. My apologies for all the inconvenience that has caused to you, but myself, I actually have been drained out too much since past 2 days because I have streamed video multiple times, but it does not gets reflected there. So I will resolve this thing today, and this problem will not come again. Tomorrow it will not come. Apologies from my side for today. Please cooperate. Thank you so much. Rajnath meets skin of dead civilians in JNK. Jaishankar meets Putin. Now, guys, basically, Minister of External Affairs has visited Russia. Earlier, Prime Minister was expected to visit Russia, but Prime Minister dropped the plan. So External Affairs Minister has visited Russia. Okay, then moving in this particular capacity, then we have these articles here: ammonia leak in Chennai, not necessary for opposition bloc to have PM face. Nothing much important for exam has been given in these particular articles. So we will directly be moving on from here. And then in city section, we have these regional articles, and then we have these basically advertisements and all such kind of things. So directly just skip this entire section and let's move to editorial. Now, as we come to editorial, moving on, as we come to editorial, here we have article: unjust and unwise counterinsurgency in J&K must not target civilians indiscriminately. Growth charts, WHO standards versus India. So you might have seen that WHO gives certain standards. For example, what is the healthy weight in a child, 0 to 6 months, what should be the growth trajectory, etc. is given. Now, often what has happened, officials, they say that WHO standards are over ambitious, okay, and a large section of society can never meet WHO standards on health that has been given. Now, this article is explaining that actually WHO standards on growth that are there, they have been decided on the basis of sample size taken from India. But then official says that this sample size is taken from the rich families of South Delhi. Okay, then it is said that basically often a lot of families will not be able to achieve that, and all such things have been explained. In a nutshell, I have read this entire article, but guys, academic substance which is relevant for our exam is largely missing here. So I will not advise you to go too much in detail in this particular article. So no need to go too much in detail in this particular article for examination. Okay, then guys, further moving on, we have this article below here: the quest for happiness in the Viksit Bharat. We'll take this particular article for examination. Cricket commerce. So recently we have seen that there was the auction in IPL has happened. Okay, again, nothing much important is given. Then next page, making health our top priority in 2024. We'll take this particular article for examination. Then on next page, we have this article: will Slim revolutionize lunar landing? So we'll take this particular article also for exam as what it is talking about. Then on next page, political indecision and missed chances, Babri Masjid demolition in retrospect. So this article here, it is a bibliography article which is discussing the premise of these 3 books on Ayodhya, Babri Masjid demolition, etc. Now again, for examination, guys, nothing much important has been given here. Then we have these political articles here: Rahul Gandhi's visit and all such things. So moving on, we have one article: grow local, eat local, Bengal farmers hold a celebration of indigenous seeds. We'll take this particular article. Punjab Chief Minister claims the center rejected their tableau. Okay, not needed to go there. Then on international page also, again guys, we see that basically most of the times there are the two articles that take most of the space here, that is Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas issue that is going on, and again both of the articles are on the same line only. Fine, so no need to go, nothing important for exam, because on international page I have told you this particular thing many number of times, that those articles are important which either contain the issues related to foreign policy of India, or if articles contain some substance related to India's international interest, those are important, but such thing is missing here. So moving on in this particular capacity, then we have here business page, and on business page here we have one particular article, Indian bank assets quality improved to decadal high, Reserve Bank of India. Now there is one small concept that I would like to explain you guys here. See this particular thing, that when bank is lending money to someone, when bank is giving loan to someone, that money is asset, or that account is an asset for bank. Why? Because that money will come back, and till that particular time interest will also be paid. So basically all the loan accounts of a bank, they are shown on the asset side in their balance sheet. Now, you might have heard the word non-performing asset. What is non-performing asset? Non-performing asset are those accounts, these are those loan accounts or those loans which have been given, but they might not come back, but the money might not come back. Why? Because the lenders, they are not willing to pay or something like that. Okay, so non-performing assets are those loans that have been given but might not come back. And these non-performing assets, if they increase, it puts a strain on the financial health of a banking institution. So non-performing assets should not be very much high. Now there is one good news that is coming, and this good news is that that Reserve Bank of India, it has announced that non-performing assets in the scheduled commercial banks have come down, and they are at the lowest in its last 10 years. So there is this one line that you need to see. So the GNPA, gross non-performing asset ratio of scheduled commercial bank, it has fell to a decadal low. Now it was 3.9% in March ending 2023. Now it has come to 3.2% in September 2023. So non-performing assets have really declined, which is a good thing for Indian economy. Okay. So this is guys all about this. Then further moving on, we have sports section. We have this sports section, and then guys, in the last science page, the article that we have here, scientists are using fruit flies to find clues to Huntington disease. So basically fruit flies, how fruit flies are being used, okay, what is the HTT gene, and all such things have been given. Now I have read this article, but again guys, the article is going into the two core nitty-gritties. Okay, so that is all about this. And apart from Hindu newspaper, I am also going to cover two articles from PIB, Press Information Bureau, in the today's session, because there are these two developments that were reported there but are not reported in Hindu. Indian Express and Hindustan Times also I have seen that if there are some articles which are not covered, we should cover, but I didn't find much different things there. So today I am taking the two articles from PIB, so that also we will discuss. Now starting up, so guys, every class I start with the GS quotation, and also you can download this synoptic notes from our Telegram channel. In this particular notes, all the articles crisp explanation has been given. So now every class we start with the GS quotation. Now we'll take the quotation from the missile man of India, okay, late Shri APJ Abdul Kalam, the former president of India. So Dr. Kalam says, learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge, and knowledge makes you great. Fine. So the shortest route to greatness is through learning. And therefore, schools, educational institutions, and teachers play a very important role and a great role in this particular capacity. So learning should never stop. Learning should never stop, and therefore, education has to be made as the most important priority. Fine. You can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2. Also, education helps in the character building, value inculcation. So therefore, in GS 4, ethics also this particular thing can be utilized. Now, moving on guys in this particular direction, and let's take the first article for today. first article for today. Okay, the quest for happiness in Viksit Bharat Odyssey. The quest for happiness in Viksit Bharat Odyssey. Now, this particular article, guys, we will take with respect to GS paper number 3, topic of growth versus development. Topic of growth versus development. Now, first of all, understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about growth, growth most of the time has just been equated with economic numbers. It has just been equated with economic numbers. For example, GDP. Okay. For example, per capita income. This is what the growth has been concerned. But often when we are tracing the economic development through GDP, we miss a fact that what is the state of inequality in a country, what is the condition of women in the country, whether there is environmental exploitation happening in the country or environmental conservation happening in the country. So often when we see economy through the scope, through the lens of growth, we forget these particular things. So therefore the concept of development comes, which takes in account the human improvement also. Okay, now the article is saying this particular thing, that what has happened, India has taken an ambitious target to become a developed nation by 2047. By 2047, that is 100 years of independence. And we have taken a pledge that we will achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat, that is developed Bharat, by 2047. And in this particular capacity, what is happening? We are just focusing on economic development. Now understand this thing, development is more broad concept than growth. But when we talk about just the economic development, again, it becomes a little bit diluted concept. Economic development has been a European centric notion of development. But what about human development? What about human development? What about cultural development? What about environmental development? We are not discussing too much about that. What about the happiness of the citizens? We are not discussing. We are just getting concerned with the economic numbers. Now, understand this particular thing, that as we talk about the goal of becoming Viksit Bharat by 2047, it is based on certain key pillars. And what are these key pillars? Number one, structural transformation in the economy is to be achieved. For example, right now a large number of people are dependent on agriculture. They are to be brought in manufacturing sector and then in service sector. So this is structural transformation. Female labor force participation rate is to be improved. This is structural transformation. Then organizing the labor market. Guys, today 91% labor force as per International Labor Organization is involved into the informal sectors, which are low paying. Okay, so we need to bring our labor force into the formal and organized sectors. Then increasing competitiveness so that India's export potential can be improved. Then improving financial and social inclusion. Okay, so already Jan Dhan Yojana has been taken up for financial inclusion. Social inclusion means every section of the society should be covered in the governmental development initiatives. Governance reforms, okay, so that red tapeism, okay, bureaucratic log jam, etc. can be reduced. Governance reforms will also improve the ease of doing business. Seizing opportunities in the green revolution. Okay, how green revolution, how India's agricultural prowess. Guys, you might be knowing already that India's per hectare land productivity happens to be one of the lowest, and it has been highest in the countries such as South Korea. Countries such as Korea, countries such as China. But India, land productivity has been low. So how green revolution can be, its maximum benefit could be taken up. So these are the pillars on which Viksit Bharat is going to focus. Now, critics, they have said this particular thing, that though we are focusing on economic growth, but what has happened, we are not focusing that whether people are happy or not, whether people development, human development is going on or not. So they say that as we talk about recently released World Happiness Report 2023, World Happiness Report 2023 shows this particular thing, that in fact many developed nations, people, they are not happy, people are sad, anxieties are high, depression rates are high. And when we talk about India, India ranks at 126 out of 137 countries. So on the World Happiness Report, India's performance is not good. Now, even today, India happens to be the 5th largest economy. And given that such poor ranking on World Happiness Report is not very much good. So therefore, we need to focus on encompassing development, which moves beyond just economy and takes in account the human development also. Now, when we talk about the World Happiness Report, It got started in 2012, and in this particular report, a country's happiness is seen on 6 parameters. Now, what are these 6 parameters? Number one, GDP per capita, which is an economic parameter, but some amount of money is needed. Okay, so that you can afford health, so that you can afford good education. So GDP per capita is one pillar. Then second is the healthy life expectancy at birth. Then generosity, how willing you are to help other people who are in pain. Generosity, your attitude of showing the compassion, charity. Then social support, how much community supports each other, social support. Then freedom to make life choices, how free you are to decide what you want to do, how free are you are to choose your important life decisions. Okay, and then there is this perception of corruption. So these are the parameters on whose basis the happiness of a nation is calculated. And it has been found by the report that though as pandemic came, economic crisis came, economic miseries came, but the generosity in the world, attitude of helping others have actually increased. Okay, so what they say that the act of kindness have increased globally. Also, the report have highlighted this particular thing, that the social connections and relationships contribute to one's happiness, one's emotional well-being, how good friend circles you are having, how social networks you are having. This particular thing improves the well-being. Now, moving on in this particular direction. So the article further provides this particular thing, that as we talk about the countries such as Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Netherlands, these countries are the top ranking countries into the happiness report. These are considered to be the happiest countries, and in all these countries we have seen that they have always focused on building up social connections. Always they have focused on building social connections, sustainable development, environmental conservation they have always focused upon, and by this they have become the happy countries. Now, the article says this particular thing, that we need to move beyond just the GDP numbers. And in this capacity, guys, there are actually many other indicators that are also there beyond GDP that needs to be considered while taking or while planning the growth of India till 2047. Now, for example, World Bank's environmentally sustainable development division, it has come out with a green index. Now, what green index does? Green index measures nation's wealth by incorporating three components. What are these three components? Produced assets, natural resources, and human resources. Now, when we talk about natural resource, how well we have conserved our water streams, our environment, forest ecosystems, etc. So these parameters should be considered, okay, because environmental well-being directly and positively contributes to the human well-being. Then next is there is International Human Suffering Index. Okay, it judges the human suffering. If a human suffering is less, means that country is more happy. So we need to consider such parameter also. Then after that, guys, there are other many parameters. For example, Global Innovation Index. Fine, we have many other parameters such as, okay, the parameters such as the Global Innovation Index, Rule of Law Index, Poverty Index, Corruption Perception Index, Gender Equality Index, World Press Freedom Index. All these particular indexes, if India's progress is good, for example, Corruption Perception Index, less corruption is there, India is having good rank. Rule of Law Index means that the rule of law prevails, process-based democracy is there in India. If in all these parameters, India's ranking condition will improve, automatically India will become Viksit Bharat and Kushal Bharat. Viksit Bharat and Kushal Bharat, that is developed India and the happy India, which should be our goal as of now. Now, moving on, guys, in this particular capacity, and let's go to the next article. Okay, so here we have this particular article. And this article I have taken from the text and context article. Article reads, will slim revolutionize lunar landings. Okay, so this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, science and technology. Also in prelims examination, such questions can be asked. For example, they might ask that recently slim was in news. Now, what is this slim? Okay, it is some body slimming capsule, it is a kind of a space probe, or it is a kind of a renewable energy technology, okay, or something like that. So you need to know what this slim initiative is or slim program is all about. Okay, so basically guys, what has happened recently, Japan, they have launched their smart lander for investigating moon, and this smart lander for investigating moon, it is called as SLIM in short. Now basically this SLIM spacecraft, it has entered the orbit of moon, and next month, that is by January, it will make a soft landing on moon. And if this soft landing of Japan's SLIM mission became successful, then Japan will become a fifth country to soft land a robotic spacecraft on moon. And this particular spacecraft is also being launched around the south pole of the moon. So Chandrayaan 3 that got launched recently, it also landed onto the south pole. Okay, now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about this particular SLIM spacecraft, there are certain notable points about this particular spacecraft which you need to know. Understand this thing. First of all, this particular spacecraft is very less in weight. It is very less in weight, very lightweight, and also it has used very less fuel. Okay, and these things can become lesson for India, because India always has been launching cost effective and more efficient space modules. Okay, now first of all guys, some basic details we need to know about this SLIM module of Japan. So the SLIM smart lander for investigation moon, this space, when we talk about this particular spacecraft, it has been launched by Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, that is the JAXA. Now what has happened, they actually two of the components have been launched by Japan. One is the SLIM and other is XRISM. So SLIM and XRISM, they have been launched together. What is this XRISM? It is next generation X-ray space telescope. It is a space telescope, and both of these two modules, they were launched on H-2A rocket. They were launched on H-2A rocket. Now one more thing guys, that when we talk about this both these particular two modules, they have been launched together, and because there was a delay in the development of this XRISM SLIM, earlier it was to be launched in 2021, now it has been shifted to 2023 and it got launched. Now one more thing, that this is also this year's second attempt by Japan to launch a spacecraft on moon. Earlier what happened, there was Hakutor, Hakutor Hakutor M1 lander that was expected to land on moon, but its landing got failed. This particular spacecraft was designed by a Japanese company. It was designed by a Japanese private company, that is iSpace, but it was not successful. Okay, if it would have been successful, this would have been the second landing of Japan in 1 year. Okay, now understand this particular thing guys, that when we talk about the SLIM spacecraft that has been launched by Japan, it has attracted interest of many world countries. Why? Because it carries drastically less fuel, it is low weight, and it is highly efficient. It more efficient even than the Chandrayaan 3. Now first of all, let's understand this particular thing, that how it is reaching moon in so less fuel. Okay, so basically guys, first of all, when we talk about the SLIM of Japan and Chandrayaan 3, both have followed similar methodology. For example, suppose here we have Earth. Now what happened in Chandrayaan 3? It carried a thrust up to a particular height, then then as a slingshot, just keep it in mind. Okay, suppose uh, there are certain games, for example, shot put is there. Okay, suppose I want to throw a heavy ball at a very far distance. What I can do, I can use some external energy which can propel that particular ball at a very far distance. That is possible. I can put it in a cannon, and that cannon can throw that heavy ball at a far distance. That is possible. But for that, I need resource, I need more energy. Let's say I don't have more resource and I don't have more energy. I need to use my own energy. How I will throw that particular ball? So what I will do, I will carry that ball in my hand, and I will be making some kind of revolutions like this, 3 4, and then what I will do, I will generate enough force and then I will throw that particular ball. Now when we talk about Chandrayaan 3, when we talk about Chandrayaan 3, how Chandrayaan 3 was launched? Chandrayaan 3 was launched in the similar manner, in the similar manner. So what happened? First of all, it swung around the earth planet multiple times, and as it made multiple revolutions, what happened? It built up sufficient kinetic energy, and when it generated sufficient kinetic energy, okay, it was launched towards the moon's orbit. It was launched towards the moon's orbit. This is the manner in which Chandrayaan 3 was launched, and this is the manner in which the SLIM initiative of Japan has been launched. Okay, so let's go back to that particular photograph that I was showing you earlier. Yes, so we are here. Okay, so what happened? We find this particular thing, that basically it was propelled towards the moon like this. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about Chandrayaan 3, the moment Chandrayaan 3 reached somewhere here, Chandrayaan that applied the brake. Chandrayaan then applied the brake, and as its speed became very less near the moon, what happened? It was attracted by the moon's gravity field. Moon's gravity field captured it, and then through the balanced landing, it landed on moon. Now understand this particular thing, that as brakes have to be applied at this particular place in the space, it consumes a lot of energy. It consumes a lot of energy, and in applying brake also, a lot of fuel has to be used. But what this SLIM mission of Japan did, so basically till this particular point, Chandrayaan 3 and SLIM both has a same kind of methodology. But then what happened? Rather than applying the brakes, SLIM, it continued its journey. And what happened? It actually, because of the moon and the earth's, because of the earth and moon's gravity, it little bit got deflected and it adopted this particular path. It continued, it moved like this, and then eventually it came directly into the gravity zone of moon. Now this particular route is little bit long. It takes more time. But eventually SLIM initiative did not had to apply brake, and it did not had to waste the fuel. So in less fuel and with more efficiency, but with more time also, it has eventually reached the moon. So this particular landing, now this landing will happen next month in January. Okay, now it has entered the orbit of moon, but the landing will happen next month. If this landing becomes successful, then this is the new highly efficient methodology of moon landing that will come, and India might also utilize it in the times to come. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that this particular SLIM initiative, it has also come in the news for some other reasons also. So here there's one line, please read it from the notes. SLIM subsequently on a larger, more loopy path was designed to bring it back to near the moon in December. Now it has come, and now it is making a landing. Now when we talk about this SLIM 1 initiative, understand this particular thing, that it will try to land within 100 meters of the chosen landing site. So a tentative landing site is chosen. In the zone of 2-3 kilometers, the probe has to land. Now basically guys, if we talk about the NASA's Curiosity lander, it landed 2.4 kilometer away from the chosen landing site. Similarly, Chandrayaan 3 also landed at a far distance from the landing site. And when we talk about the history of the moon landings, China's Chang'e 3 spacecraft, it has landed 89 meters away from the chosen spot, and it was the very accurate landing that was done by China. And now the SLIM, it is attempting to make a landing within the 100 meters, and might be it is the most precise landing that will happen. And that particular thing also we will be knowing in the month of January. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Okay, now guys, when we talk about this particular SLIM, now once this SLIM SLIM module that will land on moon, it will deploy 2 rovers. That it was done in the case of the Chandrayaan 3 also. These rovers, they are called as the Lunar Excursion Vehicle 1 and Lunar Excursion Vehicle 2, and both of them will study the lunar surface, around the landing point, will collect the temperature, radiation recordings, and will study the moon's mantle. They will study the moon's mantle. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that basically India is now also planning to launch Chandrayaan 4. It is planning to launch Chandrayaan 4. And now what might happen? So basically, Lunar Polar Exploration Mission, LUPEX mission. Now this LUPEX mission is called as Chandrayaan 4. Now in this LUPEX mission, India can collaborate with Japan. India can collaborate with Japan. Now Japan has approved it, but India has not approved it. Okay, and the launch date of this Chandrayaan 4 might be somewhere in 2026. Okay, so basically, through this slim, how they have attained a success through this slim, Japan can help India in this particular capacity, and then India will be able to launch even more efficient spacecrafts in the future. So that is all, guys, about it. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article, making health our top priority in 2024. Making health our top priority in 2024. Okay, now this particular article will take with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to health. Okay, so basically, guys, when we talk about the health, we find this particular thing that non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, they have become silent killers, and they are posing a lot of burden on the health systems. We find this particular thing that according to WHO, World Health Organization, it released a report, and the name of the report is Invisible Numbers. And as per this particular report, 66% of the deaths in India in 2019, they were because of the non-communicable diseases. 66% death because of the non-communicable diseases. Also, it has been provided that 22% of the individuals, 22% of the people age above 30 years, they would die because of the non-communicable disease before their 70th birthday. Now the global average is 18%. So 18% of the people will die before 70 because of non-communicable disease, but in India this number is 22%. So there is a silent epidemic of non-communicable diseases that is going on. And in these non-communicable diseases, why these non-communicable diseases, they have become so prevalent? Largely because of the factors such as, number one, there is unhealthy dietary patterns that are there. All the time we are consuming junk food and all such kind of things. Then there is lack of physical activity. Okay, then use of tobacco and alcohol. All these things are on rise in India, and because of this particular thing, this silent epidemic is getting fueled. And we find diabetes, heart disease, all these particular issues, anxiety, depression, they have become high in India. Now, guys, when we talk about India, India also has a dubious distinction of being India has a dubious distinction of being the diabetes capital of the world, which is not a good thing. We find this particular thing that there are 101 million diabetic and 136 million pre-diabetic people in India. Okay, cardiovascular disease, their incidence of the cardiovascular disease has risen by 57.5%, and this health impact also has an economic implication. Now, guys, if we see what is the economic damage by this particular rising unhealthy lifestyle in India, so it has been provided that such unhealthy lifestyles will lead to the loss of or damage of $4.58 trillion between 2012 to 2030. The number has been given by WEF, that is World Economic Forum. So therefore, we need to immediately counter non-communicable diseases, and healthy lifestyles are to be adopted. Now, already government is running many schemes in this particular direction. For example, we have here many of the government programs. There is National Program for Prevention and Control of Cancer. There is National Program for Prevention and Control of Diabetes also, for cardiovascular diseases, for stroke. Okay, we have the initiatives. But at the same time, article says that everything cannot be done by the government. At the end of the day, individuals have to take charge of their own health. And in this capacity, a lot of things they have to change. Now understand, there are certain factors on which you have control, certain factors are outside your control. For example, if there is a pollution in Delhi, that is outside my control. Okay, or for example, that if green spaces are not there, that is outside my control. But certain things are in my control. For example, what we put in our body, what we eat, how we move throughout the day, okay, how we stay ahead of illnesses. If are we taking the regular health checkups or not? This is something that is in our control. And by these particular things, we need to ensure that we adopt a healthy regimen. Now, what is way forward in this particular capacity? So guys, here there are, oh, okay. So guys, here there are certain steps that have been recommended that can be adopted. What we have? Number one, integrate more natural movement in our daily lives. Okay, wherever possible, try to ensure that you complete your 10,000 steps every day. Walk. We can choose slow food over the fast food. Okay, choose more complex carbohydrates for consumption. We can take out a few hours once a year and get a comprehensive health checkup. We can make a health a dinner table and water cooler conversation. We should discuss that what we are doing for living a healthy life, what others are doing. Okay, if your friends are gaining rapid weight which is not healthy, you should poke them, and these things should be the matter of discussion. Okay, winning the war against non-communicable disease is not just for individual well-being, it is important for the national well-being also. So this is something that needs to be the focused area. Now moving on, and we have now the next article, ICMR. Okay, yes. Now, so ICMR initiates steps for non-invasive. Sorry guys. Here, this heading is by mistake wrong. The heading is grow local, eat local. Grow local, eat local. Bengal farmers hold a celebration of indigenous seeds. So basically, guys, you can use this particular article with respect to GS paper number 2, non-governmental organization, civil societies, how they are working in some very good areas, and here they are working for the conservation of indigenous variety of seeds. So basically, guys, understand this thing, that what has happened, one of the organization, that is Action Aid. Now Action Aid is an NGO. Action Aid, then the Jan Kalyan Samiti, Purva Medinipur Kisan Swaraj Samiti. These are NGOs, and what they have done, they have launched a drive where the farmers, what they are doing, they are holding the celebration to celebrate indigenous seeds. They are sharing indigenous seeds with each other, and they have taken the pledge to save the indigenous variety of seed crops. So what has happened? Farmers from several districts of West Bengal, they have organized indigenous seed festival, and they have taken a pledge to conserve the different varieties of native seeds. Okay, because what has happened now, we have adopted a large number of hybrid seeds which have become a danger to the native variety of seeds. So hundreds of farmers, they have brought indigenous variety of paddy, indigenous variety of pulses, vegetables, and exchange the traditional knowledge with each other, that how indigenous variety of seeds can be saved. So this is something that they have done, and you can use that how is as an example, that how NGOs many number of times they organize a certain community awareness program. As recently Action Aid had organized a program for conservation of indigenous variety of seeds. Okay, so just as a case study you can use it. Now, two articles I have taken from the PIB, and the first article that we are going to take is this one, that is Cabinet approves the migration and mobility agreement between India and Italy. Okay, so this particular article I have taken from PIB. So basically, guys, what has happened, when we talk about the relations between any two country, there are certain points which are the points of irritant, and there are certain points which are the points of convergences. So basically, guys, when we talk about the convergences, we find this particular thing, that between India and Italy, a new convergence is evolving, and this is the migration and mobility agreement. Now, when we talk about the migration and mobility agreement, we have signed such agreements with many countries, and as per this particular agreement, what happened? Ceaseless flow of tourists, students, businessmen is facilitated. Okay, now what has happened? So earlier this agreement was already signed by the Prime Minister. Now this agreement has been given the approval by the Cabinet. And what happened now, through this particular agreement, it would enhance people to people contacts. It will foster, increase the mobility of students between India and Italy. It will facilitate the movement of skilled workers, business people, young professionals from India and Italy. Now, as per this particular mobility agreement that has been signed, Indian students who have done some professional course, who have done their education, let's say in Italy, what they can do after completing their course or after completing their training, they will be given the temporary residence in Italy for up to 12 months. They can work there, they can do internship there. This has been provided. After that, guys, also what has happened? The Italian side, they has provided the detailed provisions related to professional training, extracurricular curricular internships will be allowed to the Indian students in Italy. Specific skill courses if Indian students want to learn in Italy, for that process have now been eased. Also, guys, what has happened for the workers who want to go to Italy, Italy is giving a specific quota of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. So 5,000 workers will be allowed by Italy in 2003, then 6,000 in 2024, 7,000 in 2025. So dedicated quota of skilled workers will be provided. Then also, guys, what has happened? Further, further, there is a joint working group on mobility that has been initiated, and this joint working group on mobility will further see that how the skilled professionals, healthcare professionals, can be moved between India and Italy with more ease. So all these particular things have come out of this particular arrangement. Okay, now moving on, guys, and the next article, this article also we have taken from PIB, and the article reads: 6 Samarth Curated Programs launched by Karmayogi Bharat on iGOT platform for state government officials. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, I would like to tell you some basic background information. So basically, what is Mission Karmayogi? Mission Karmayogi is a dedicated program that has been launched by the government to build the skills in the civil servants. So government aims to move from rule based to role based. Aims to move from rule based to role based order in civil servants. Often we find this particular thing that civil servants, they are not equipped with the 21st century skills. Often their foundational skills, aptitude in the civil servants is not up to the mark. So for their regular training, for their regular conditioning, Mission Karmayogi has been launched, and under the Mission Karmayogi there is this iGOT platform. And on this iGOT platform, from time to time, certain courses, certain training, certain modules are launched which can help the civil servants to enhance their skill set. And now what has happened? 6 Samarth Curated Training Programs have been launched on this iGOT Karmayogi platform, and these particular courses, these particular programs have been launched by under Karmayogi Bharat Abhiyan with the help of NITI Aayog. So keep this particular thing in your mind. So guys, many number of times the questions which comes around the schemes, they could be like this, that recently Karmayogi was in news. This Karmayogi program relates to which sector? So you need to know about that. Now what are these 6 programs? Now these particular programs, they are aimed to increase the skills and the competencies of the government officials, so that they are well equipped to meet the needs of governance. Okay, now under this particular thing, what has happened? For the different levels program have been prepared. For example, Samarth block, Jila, Rajya. Okay, fine. Samarth policy. Now understand this particular thing. Basically, Samarth block, so this is for the block level officials. So here 14 courses are there which will focus on building the foundational skills for local governance. Same way, Zilla means a district level program. Now this will further help the district level officials to improve their competencies and to improve their governance skills. Now you are not required to go in this, okay, because the difference is the level. There is one for block level, one is for Jilla level, one is for Rajya level, okay, the state level, district level, block level. What you can take away from this particular article is the name of these program, and you can use it in the case study, in the ethics, in the governance part. You can use it as a example. Okay, so that is about it. Okay, now when we talk about there is these particular programs, what these particular program will focus on, these particular program will focus on their skill development in their improving their governance capabilities. Particularly, there is a Samarth policy, which is a dedicated course, and this particular course will help the policy makers, will help the administrators to understand the intricacies of policy formulation, to understand policy writing, insight, data analysis, evaluation. So at the end of the day, service delivery capabilities of the civil servants will be improved by this Samarth courses that have been launched under the mission Karmayogi. So please use it as an example in your governance related answers. So that is guys all about it. And now we have the main practice question for today. So question reads that happiness induced development model for India is more pertinent than the current model of mere economic development. Comment. GS paper number 3, developmental related issues. So guys, that is all about it. And guys, if you are seeing it in the live format, then good. But if you are seeing it in the recorded format, anyhow, you know this thing that it takes a lot of hard work every day to make these particular sessions, to do research, to make notes, and even a lot of things behind the curtains that are there. Fine. So I will just request that if you support our program, our initiative, then please do hit the like button. Please do leave your comments. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow.